Welcome to the Friendly Auto Show, the on-the-road version. I'm Susan, and I invite you to step back in time at the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum. Come on. It is my pleasure to have Eileen, the Executive Director of the Museum and Library, here with me. Hi, Eileen.
Hi, how are you?
Great.
It's good to see you.
You too. You have a big role here.
You know, I do have a wonderful role, an exciting role. As I've often said, when I walk in the morning, I feel like dancing because it's such an extraordinary place. But really, if you have the kind of staff that I have, who are loyal and devoted and caring, you just watch them do their work and say, oh, am I lucky?
That is fabulous. Tell me about some exciting happenings here at the museum.
There are so many, but let me pick a few that I think are truly wonderful. In July, we're going to have an extraordinary exhibit featuring the Chappelle exhibit, which has never been shown in the Midwest before, which focuses on some of the great collectives that are not in our museum, and there are few that aren't in our museum. So we have an exciting exhibit there. We're going to have, we hope, an exhibit from C-SPAN, and of course you'll learn about the exhibit that we have with Undying Words, which is the great speeches of Lincoln and their interpretation. We also have many other exhibits that are planned, and of course a variety of speakers, including this Thursday night when we do the Battle of Petersburg with Mark Depew, one of our great historians. So a lot is going on all the time. In fact, I would say that most every evening and most every afternoon there's an event or activity, including theater of a great proportion.
It sounds wonderful, Eileen. Touch a little bit on the library. I know people are very familiar with the museum. Maybe what could one learn in the library?
You know, everybody jokes about we've got the guts over in the library, they've got the show over here, but the guts, without the guts you just don't live or function, and that's really the truth. All of the materials are in the library, and you don't have to be a great historian with a PhD to come there and use it. Anybody can use it. We have 7th and 8th grade kids who come. We have 5th grade kids that come. There's a whole section on genealogy if you're interested in your, and some people are frightened of the genealogy. They never know who they're going to discover in their background. That's true, that's true. But it's exciting to learn about your past and learn about the people that came over. We have a lot of immigration material, so that's possible. We also have extraordinary collections. Very soon we're going to have a very sneak peek at the material that's come from Senator Stevenson on his 4 generations of family that were very much involved in history. And we have regular programs at the library which take you not on tours of stacks. We tried that in the beginning, but put them out on a table, put the material out on the table and say, look and see, what are you interested in? So next month in March we have a whole tour of women's collections.
Oh,
nurses and women legislators and women artists and women aldermen.
What would you say to someone who said, oh, I've already visited the museum a few years ago? How do you invite them back?
Oh, that's a very good question, because that's a question that people who only see it a little bit ask me. Those people who know the museum say, every time I come, I see something exciting. Let me give you a specific example.
Yes.
I'm reading Eric Foner's book now on abolitionists and the Underground Railroad.
Oh,
I thought that we didn't have very much material on the Underground Railroad that was for display. I knew we had an extraordinary woman actor who did the work, but I didn't know. Then all of a sudden I'm back in Journey 1 last week, reading the book intensely, and there is so much material to be found. So the more that you look, the more that you do, for example, the 4-minute Civil War, the more that you look at a particular artifact, the more questions you have, and the more you'll inquire of the volunteers that are here to give you that kind of information, and the more you're going to want to go over to the library and see more. So it's a constant exploration. And the first time you go, it's only the surface. I mean, that's what you get when you're a kid in the 5th grade.
Right.
And you go through real fast. And you're always interested in the girl next door or the boy next door as you're going through the museum. But as we get older, we begin to say, you know, what was it all about? We begin to reflect a little, and then you really turn to history in a serious, in-depth way.
That's wonderful. Please join Eileen and explore this beautiful museum and library. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Susan. It was wonderful to be with you.
You too. "2015 is a very exciting year here at the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum.
We are commemorating the 150th anniversary of President Lincoln, as well as celebrating the 10th anniversary of our campus.
Friendly Chevrolet and Honda of Illinois have teamed up with the museum to give you a chance to explore the museum at no cost. Test drive a vehicle this month and receive a family 4-pack of tickets to the museum. Come to Susan's Auto Mall, Prairie Crossing, Springfield, home of the lifetime warranty. It's my pleasure to have Carrie from the American Heart Association with me today. Hi, Carrie.
Hello, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. February is a big month for you.
Yes, February is American Heart Month, so it's a very busy time. It's a time that we're really trying to spread awareness for our Go Red for Women campaign, so talking a lot about heart disease education for women.
What other things does the Heart Association do for people?
Well, one thing that we do, probably the most important thing that we do, is we fund cardiovascular research. So the American Heart Association is the largest funder of cardiovascular research outside of the federal government. So just in Illinois alone, last year we funded $16 million in studies. We also advocate for healthier laws, like the new requirement for high schools to offer CPR to their students. That's something that we worked really hard on. We also develop guidelines for doctors that they implement in the hospitals, and we just educate the public on how to live a healthier lifestyle and how to live with heart disease if you already have it.
That's wonderful. Carrie, tell me about that. Let's touch on the living a healthier lifestyle. What can people do to help prevent a heart attack?
Sure. We always try and tell people about what we call the Simple 7. So we want people to focus on not smoking, managing their blood pressure, their cholesterol, their blood sugar, their weight, and eating healthy and getting physical activity. So those are the things that we are really focused on in preventing heart disease. If you do those things, 80% of heart disease is preventable with a healthy lifestyle. So those are the things that you really need to keep an eye on.
That really puts your odds in a good light there.
Right.
Tell me about, do women suffer different symptoms of a heart attack versus men?
Yes, and that's really why we developed our Go Red for Women campaign, because so many women were dying from heart attacks because they didn't recognize the symptoms. So we try and let women know that they may feel we hear from some women it feels like acid reflux. They get pain in their jaw and their neck, in addition to the chest pain. So if you, and then sweating is another one too. So if you feel, like you may have flu-like symptoms, with the chest pain and that sort of thing, you may be having a heart attack, and you should call 911.
Oh boy. And what about for men? Do they feel the same symptoms?
Men mostly have the pain down the arm and the pressure on the chest. They may have the sweating and the nausea too.
Oh boy. Well, I know this is a busy month for you. For the audience, if they want more information from the American Heart Association, how can they go about getting that?
They can visit our website at heart.org/central-il. That'll give you all the information on any events that we have in Central Illinois. We have several events throughout the year, all throughout Central Illinois, so you can check that out. We're also on Facebook and Twitter.
Great, Carrie. Thank you so much for being here with me today. We'll be right back. It's my pleasure to be with Claire, the guest service manager here at the museum. Hi, Claire.
Hi, how are you?
Great.
Thank you for coming to our museum.
I love it. This is so nice. It's so big and beautiful, and I know you have many, many exciting happenings.
We do. If you have not visited the Presidential Museum, 2015 is the year to come. We have so many exciting things happening this year. Of course, we are commemorating the 150th assassination of President Lincoln, but we're also celebrating our 10-year anniversary. So we have new exhibits, new displays, we have a new theater production that we're going to be rolling out. Our museum is going digital with an app. It's just a really exciting year.
It sounds like it. I tell you, I know things change so rapidly here. So even if somebody visited a few months ago, it's important to come back because it's just so exciting here.
Yes, it is. You know, every time you come back, we have something new to offer. But you know what I'm amazed about is guests and our members who have been here many times, they'll still walk out the door and they'll say, you know, I never remember seeing that before, or I've learned something new, and that's what it's all about.
Let's talk about the plans going forth. You're having a lot of events for Abraham Lincoln through this month, all the way up through the end of May.
We are. We have a calendar that's posted on our website. It's 10yearslincoln.com.
Okay.
And we have a little bit that we are offering for everybody. So whether you are a scholar and you want to attend some of our educational events, or whether you're a family looking for a fun activity like the egg roll in the park that we're going to have.
Fun.
Or we're going to have a Fancy Nancy tea and soiree in May. We have those fun family events, but of course the month of April, with it being the commemoration month, we have a whole agenda listed on our website of activities that we will be hosting here. We will be having things in the park where we possibly could have a flyover from the Navy coming. I'm letting you in on some secrets.
Yeah,
here,
this is top secret.
Yeah. So we might have, you know, different types of music. We're going to have some readings. We're going to have live theater productions that really put you in the life and times of Abraham Lincoln and feel what he felt. Come cry with us about the assassination. Those are the things that we want to share with the public.
What a history lesson for all of us.
You know, it is, but at the same time, you know, again, you don't have to be a scholar to enjoy our museum. It is so fun. We have over 75,000 school kids that visit our museum every year. And it is so interesting to see the school kids come in, and it's that aha moment. You know, they walk in and they're just overwhelmed. And maybe they think history wasn't something that maybe was of interest to them, but they walk away thinking, you know what, this might be something I want to do someday. Maybe I want to be a historian. Or, you know, maybe I just want to learn more about Lincoln. It's quite amazing to see the transformation in the kids that visit.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much, Claire.
Thank you.
For more information of upcoming events, please check out the website, and it's just amazing. You have to come in because this is really, really a special place.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Claire. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Cornelius, the Lincoln Curator, here at the Museum and Library. Wow, what a job. What an exciting job.
It's very exciting, Susan.
Tell me what you do.
I answer a lot of questions from the public and from experts in the field about Lincoln, big questions, small questions, and a lot of what I do is help plan and then set up the special exhibits here in the museum of the original Lincoln materials, the historic artifacts.
Tell me what's your background and your studies? How did you get so interested in Lincoln?
When I was 5 years old, I started collecting Lincoln pennies. So I've had that little profile on my eye ever since. Then I memorized all the presidents, then I memorized all the states, and I loved trains. I loved the Civil War period. This is the dream job. I studied history, obviously.
Unbelievable. Tell me why Lincoln? Why is he held in such high esteem among presidents?
Well, that's a tough question. I think Lincoln is maybe our most esteemed president today. There are a couple of other possibilities there because he was a self-made man. Everybody can admire someone who was born in a cabin with a dirt floor and rose to the greatest office in the land. And he was self-educated mostly. He's proof that the American dream was alive then, it's alive now, and he stuck to his principles. That's the main thing. He led us through our greatest crisis.
That's unbelievable. That really is a good summary. Tell me now, I know 2015 is a very exciting year for you here. Yeah. Give me a little sneak preview of what we can see ahead.
Well, right now in the museum we've got our biggest collection of original Lincolniana. That's a great word, isn't it?
Lincolniana.
Lincolniana. Some of it's borrowed from Chicago, but most of it is our own. The most we've ever had on display here. The Lincoln's carriage that they rode in Washington, D.C., the bed that Lincoln died in.
Wow.
Some of the most famous documents are only up for a little while, so you have to come soon to see them. The 13th Amendment to the Constitution, which ended slavery, and the Emancipation Proclamation, as well as letters to General Grant, as well as family things that belong to Mary and Robert and their younger son, Willie, and youngest son, Tad. And we've also got big plans for the anniversary of the victory in the war and, sadly, Lincoln's death. And that show will run from April through July.
Boy, I tell you, this makes me excited just hearing about it. It's amazing what you have. Tell us what, if someone was watching and listening to you right now, tell them why it's so important to come in and to be a part of this.
Well, it's important because some of these great documents won't be on view again for a while. And the carriage and the deathbed from Chicago and other great things that have never been seen here before won't be back in Springfield after this year. And otherwise, it's just nice to be an American commemorating this great victory for the Union. 150 years ago, our country was saved, and it was Lincoln and over 2 million men for the Union, most of them volunteers who stepped forward and fought to save the Union and end slavery and make us the admired nation of the world. And this is something we are all proud of.
Absolutely, and what a treat to have this right here in our hometown of Springfield.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
Mr. Lincoln's hometown.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Doctor. I really appreciate you being on the show, and you are just amazing with all the knowledge you have and how beautiful you have set up the museum and the library. Thank you.
You're very kind. Thank you, Susan.
We'll be right back. Volunteerism is very important here at the museum. I have Jeremy, the Director of Volunteer Services, and I've got star volunteer over here, Dee. And tell me a little bit about what you do, Jeremy.
As a Director of Volunteer Services, we are very fortunate here in Springfield, Illinois, to have a wonderful group of volunteers. We're actually one of the largest volunteer organizations in Central Illinois with over 500 volunteers, and we're excited to report that we approximately donate about 40,000 hours here at the ALPLM complex every year, and we're hopeful by the end of the year to actually surpass 400,000 hours since we opened back in 2005.
Amazing. Dee, how many hours did you put in over all these years?
A lot. I'm here on Wednesdays, and I've been here since January, before we opened in April. So I got to work with all the artists that did the murals, and there's a bird's nest in one of the tree. I put that bird nest.
So you can kind of point to Dee's hands are on. What did you do back here? A little paint work?
John Wilkes Booth, I did the stubble in his face and painted his hands. And we had tables, 10-foot tables set up all over the place, and it was covered with heads and hands, all of us working. And there's only one figure in the museum that has more than heads and hands, and that's the slave in the slave auction.
Oh.
And he's bare-chested.
Tell me, Jeremy, what kind of services do you need? What kind of help do you need?
We need a little bit of everything, and that's, I think, why our program has been so successful. So regardless if maybe you're someone that's really interested in history, maybe you're not, maybe you just want to be around people, this is a great place for you. Not only do we have a lot of positions here at the museum, and they're strategically placed. We have volunteers all over the museum so that regardless of what area, whatever exhibit that you're looking through, you have someone there to answer questions. But right across the street at the library, we have a lot of volunteers opportunities over there. So if you're someone that likes to interview or transcribe, auditing, editing, some of those types of things. We even have volunteers working in our conservation lab. So if you like to work along, with documents and things like that, a little bit for everyone. And so just contact me here at the Volunteer Services Office. My number is 558-8984. So if you're at home and you're interested in volunteering, give me a call and we can talk about some of those opportunities.
But what if somebody's watching and say, oh shoot, I only have a few hours out of the week to volunteer. Do you still need them?
Absolutely. Actually, we only ask for volunteers to work 8 hours per month. And so most come in here and only work 2 days a week, 2 days a month rather, at 4-hour shifts. And so if you are someone that has a busy schedule already, we understand that and we'll work with that to make sure that this is something that can accommodate to your schedule.
Great. Dee, tell me a little bit about what you have gained by volunteering here.
I'll tell you, one of the most precious things that I do is greet the people, because we have had people from all over the world here. It's just not too long ago, I was doing the ticket taker. When I left at 1 o'clock, we had 12 countries represented. We had very famous people from other countries, and it's wonderful. And the feedback that we get from those people, like, this is the most wonderful museum there is for presidents, and we kind of think that too.
I agree. So for more information, please call the number on your screen and talk to Jeremy. Thanks so much. It's really wonderful,
Thank you for having us on.
the jobs you do. We'll be right back. I'm here with Don, Friendly Chevrolet Service Manager, and Car Coach Ryan. Usually we're at the service department, but this isn't the service department this time.
Wow, this is beautiful out here. My first time here, and it is wonderful.
Isn't it amazing? It's so much fun to be out here and have them share their beautiful, beautiful museum with us.
It's very nice.
So we took Car Coach on the road today.
Yes.
What tips do you have this time?
Well, I'm going to talk about, usually we're here, we're trying to sell something. We're talking about the specials, which we always have specials. You can get on our website and check them out. But I've been looking in the paper, and you see these independent stores, and they're talking about their training, and they got ASE certified techs. And so me and Ryan got together and thought, let's just talk about our training at Friendly Chevrolet. We are ASE certified, which is great, but we go above and beyond that. We go to GM specific training. And when Ryan tells you, you're not going to believe how many hours a GM tech trains for through GM, not ASE, just GM. I'll turn it over to Ryan. And
You've studied hard over the years.
Yes. GM offers 3 different training levels. They offer a bronze, they offer a silver, they offer a gold, and then they got one more step above that. After you get all that, it's called Master Certified and World Class Certified. At our dealership, we have 2 World Class Certified technicians, we have 4 gold technicians, and 1 silver technician, and we have our apprentice program where we're starting to build 3 or 4 other techs up. And them starting out, from beginning to end, they're going to go through 500 hours of training or a little more, and then a little over half of that is actually hands-on training, where we go through GM school up in Chicago, and down in St. Louis we go there, we take our hands-on training a day or 2 depending on the class, and once you get all that done, then you basically work yourself up to the master level.
It's amazing, the training that you've gone through, and I'm so glad you pointed that out, because they're like doing their PhD in technician training. It's really so much more than just being, AC certified. So
there's a lot of misconception about modern vehicles. They're very sophisticated, and on the radio, on TV, these independents will say, come in, we'll do free code reading if you get that check engine light on, which I think everybody that drives knows what the check engine light is.
Yes.
And that don't tell you what's wrong with the car. You pull up, they'll say it's got a code P0400. You probably need this part. Well, probably doesn't mean it's fixed. It means you can spend $100 on this part and take a gamble versus bringing it to Ryan or any other qualified technicians, checking it out properly and make sure you get the right part at the right time and fix the car. A lot of people think, I'm going to go to the dealer, it's going to cost more. In the long run, it doesn't. You got all the training. These guys know a Chevrolet product inside and out, not just Chevrolet, but any GM vehicle.
Absolutely.
So it really does pay off, in the long run, to go to the dealer, get those issues resolved properly the first time around.
And Ryan, you can tell me how important it is with safety issues.
Oh, extremely. Now we're getting all the hybrid cars out. We're talking 300-volt cars that it won't be good if you grab the whole wrong wire in a car like that. So you got to go through all the safety training, and then airbag training, all the safety training on that, and make sure you diagnose it and repair it properly. And we got the 500 hours in the service training, but also the dealership, even everybody has their own training program. Service manager has his own, the service consultants, the parts consultant managers, all the salespeople, they all go through their training. That way they know the product and can work with the product and sell the product and give the customer satisfaction that they know what they're doing and know what's going on with GM stuff.
That's fabulous. And you being our car coach, Ryan, I know you have a very important position at the dealership in the service department because you help Don overlook other technicians maybe starting out and teaching. So we have almost an in-school program going on at Friendly Chevrolet, and it's really important to help these younger people move up the ladder.
Through the ranks, yeah,
right,
absolutely.
right.
Absolutely.
So it's really important. Any tips now? Give me some tips for today.
Well, I'd say one of our decent tip is if you get your oil change and tires rotate done somewhere other than Friendly Chevrolet, you know, a lot of people think, again, you go to the independents, you're going to save money. I seen an ad in the paper. There was, I think, a $45 free inspection on your car. They valued it at $45. We do that for free. It's not a special.
No.
It's free every time you come in and get your oil and tire rotation done. So what I'm asking people to do, the little challenge, I guess.
Okay.
When you get your receipt from one of these, you know, independent stores for oil and rotate, see how much it costs. Ours is $39.95. So if you're paying more than that, you're paying too much.
It's $39.95 plus the
tax.
likes of Ryan here. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
That makes a
With
huge
500
difference.
hours of experience behind him
Right.
on top of the ASC. So you're really getting some value.
Absolutely. Peace of mind at Friendly Chevrolet Service Department. Thanks, Coach Ryan, and thanks, Don.
Thank you for having us in this beautiful place.
Yeah, isn't this exciting?
Yes.
Let's go look around.
By the fall of 1862, the question is less whether to issue an Emancipation Proclamation, but when. Secretary Seward pointed out that to do so without a strong military victory to back it up could leave the impression of desperation, the final act of a dying regime. And given his generals, the president could almost be forgiven for believing that to be a tall order. Still, he saw the wisdom of Seward's counsel. General McClellan just turned back Lee's invasion of the North at Antietam. Victory enough for Mr. Lincoln, who promptly declared his intention to issue the proclamation on New Year's Day, 1863, if the Southern states remained in a state of rebellion. Of course, this being a democracy, there was another debate to play out. The untidiest, perhaps. The noisiest, for sure. What began in the White House kitchen and continued to the presidential office would soon be reflected by ordinary Americans who wanted their voices heard before their president took this momentous step. The emancipation debate rages, and you are invited to sample it in the next hallway.
Thank you, Mr.
Wow.
Carpenter. What he refers to is the next scene, Susan, in our museum, where some high-tech historical voices are telling Mr. President what to do and what not to do. It's the same as what goes on today. All kinds of advice, some of it wise, some of it hateful, some of it wrong, some of it heartfelt. And this is what we try to present here. And so specifically, this famous Emancipation Proclamation that they're debating here in the cabinet meeting is on display right now in our museum, just for a couple more months. So we hope that people can come in and see it soon.
Well, that's a wrap of the Friendly Auto Show on the road at the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum. We had so much fun here today, didn't we, Bill?
Yeah, I feel like I'm part of the family.
I think
feel
you-
like I'm going back in time. What time is it?
Oh, you have to come to the library and the museum to figure that out.
Oh.
I'm gonna have to send you next door so you can do your research, okay?
I agree.
Thanks so much for watching the Friendly Auto Show on the road. We're going places this year.